Hey guys, it's Elaine Doucette with the Herbal Mama and health educator of the Juice Plus company. I'm here to demo, really quick little demo about water kefir, a probiotic drink that is so delicious. It's really great for the Christmas season, especially when you make it into apple juice kefir. It's like the champagne of healthy beverages. Just as a little bit of a demo, we have some already made. So you get your wine, your champagne glass, and you fill it filled with your fizzy beverage. So delicious and nutritious, full of probiotics, right? So this recipe is on my website. It's already, if you go into the recipes tab and go down to water kefir, there is a PDF that you can download yourself. It's already explained, but I'm going to do a quick little demo just to show you all how to do that. So first, you're going to have to find yourself some water kefir grains. So check these out. I have an abundance of them, so come see me. I have kits available, about $20. I do trades, so let me know. So what you want to find is these live water kefir grains. They're wild, and they are just loaded with probiotics, more so than what you're going to get in a synthetic powder that you're going to get at the store for $40 for double the price. Just saying. So find some wild ones. And these are actually a SCOBY, much similar to kombucha SCOBYs, but they look totally different, but it's the same idea of the symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast. So they're little guys that are, healthy, trying to make our microbes in our guts healthy, right? So what you need, first of all, so if you download that recipe, it says caring for your grains. This is the download. It's available. Before I get started, there's a bunch of tips there. So right now, what you need for the recipe is about 2 tablespoons of live water kefir grains. So get it from a good source, totally active. And I'm going to stick those in my jar. With 2 tablespoons of water kefir grains. And you want to get 2 tablespoons of cane sugar. So it's like a 1-to-1 sugar to grain ratio. So it says there you dissolve it into water. I just throw my sugar right on top of the grains. I don't think they mind. I've been using grains since, kefir grains I've been working with, the water kefir, since 2010. And these are from the same family. I've actually accumulated others. I've mixed them together and they perform very well. So we have 2 tablespoons, 2 and 2. And then you want to add that, you want to add some water to that. So I will fill up my water here. You don't want to use chlorinated water. That's one of the recommendations on the list. So I have my water machine here. I have a purified water machine. But the best is to get a spring water or some water that has a lot of minerals to offer. This is also food for these microbes that you want to build. So I fill it up. You can fill it up a little more, but the more room you leave, the better, just in case they get really wild and they might get effervescent and bubble over. So a lot of, if you go to a lot of blogs or a lot of people that make these and recommend that you leave a lot of room. And some people say not to put a lid on. I always put a lid on. I like to see the fizz. I find it goes faster with the lid on. And faster as in like the fermentation kicks in and things get bubbly. Sometimes your grains like start growing. Like you'll notice that they double in size maybe. They don't necessarily have to do that. And they don't necessarily have to get fizzy on the first ferment, which this is called. So if you read on my instructions, it says sit in a warm spot, room temperature, away from direct light, just from the sun in the window. You don't want like any, beaming sunlight going into them. And you leave that for about 24 hours up to 72 hours. So 24 hours is kind of a minimum for your first ferment. So that's going to sit on the counter. I don't even put a towel over it. I don't mind the extra lighting. It's not optimal, but it's fine and convenient. So we leave that sit for 24 hours. Voila. another jar has appeared. So this one has been sitting for 24 hours. If I swish, that's the thing, I like to notice how I swish it around. I like to do that just to see how the activity is. You see if the bubbles start to form. And what you'll notice is that this will taste a bit more sour. So you can really taste the sugar in this one. Obviously, I just put it in, right? And so when the fermentation starts going, it actually, the microbes eat the sugar for you, which is the brilliant thing about fermentation. It helps to lower your sugar load. And this should taste a little bit more sour. I kind of think it tastes like beer to me. So kefir, beer, right? It rhymes. It's perfect. So I can smell that. I'm going to taste it. And it has a nice sour taste to it. There's a little bit of sweet. So some people might leave that for longer. You can leave it for 48 hours. It'll get super sour and have like no sugar taste left. And maybe you want to do that because you have, blood sugar issues, instability, you're dealing with somebody with diabetes. This probably wouldn't be my first ferment. If I was dealing with diabetes, I'd go to the sauerkraut or the vegetable ferments. This is a sugar-based ferment, right? It's an advanced ferment. So we're ready. We have our starter ready. So as it says on my instructions, that is free to download, guys. It should be mildly fizzy. It might not be. So do not count on that. I've had a lot of clients that come back to me. It's not fizzy on the first ferment. That's not totally important. So that's not the key. The key is to have it taste it, right? And see if it's going a little bit sour, has a beer taste sort of thing. You might want to taste when you first put the sugar in, and then you'll know in 24 hours if it's different. So if it's going sour, then you know it's good. So after that, you have your butterfly juice, as it says in the handout. And it's ready to consume. You can consume that right from there. It's not that pleasant. So what I do is I make a second ferment. And so coconut water is a popular one to do. It's all over in Hawaii. They have a lot of coconut water, kefir stands, so you can go and get that. But I just do juice. It's easy. My kids love it, and it makes a really sparkly, delicious beverage. So that recipe is also, this recipe for apple juice kefir is also on my website under water kefir. And so sparkling apple juice kefir. So making a liter of that. So you have your finished kefir butterfly juice, right? It's sat on the counter already. And I just get some organic, that's the French side, apple juice from, I get it from my Spud box in Edmonton, but any kind of organic market and get an organic juice. You don't necessarily, I like organic. Let's just go there. And so you get a container. I have a fancy growler. You can just get like another liter and fill that with apple juice. And so what you want to do is, as the recipe says, it's going to be just over a liter, because basically you can use a whole liter of apple juice and you only have to add a 1/4 cup of the water, the finished fermented water kefir. So I actually have a little less than a liter, so how perfect is that? Because I only have a liter container. So I just measure basically however much juice I'm going to use. Sometimes I dilute this juice if it's really strong. And so I am totally going to do that this time. I'm going to add some extra water, give this to my kids, and they don't even know the difference, right? Juice is so strong. And so I dilute it about, a quarter amount of water to 3/4 of the juice. You can dilute it however you want. It's all about taste, right? So half and half, some people do. I do a grape juice. Grape juice is really concentrated, so I do like a half and half there. And then we have the water kefir. So you want about a 1/4 cup. I try to strain off the little grains. And so that's why you don't want any metal to touch. That's on the recipe, no metal. Look, read all those troubleshooting things. Try to get a plastic sieve or a nut bag and just place that into your funnel. But these are pretty easy to find. And when you do that, and see I had a couple little grains from behind here. So I'm gonna put those back in and keep those. They're called grains, but they're obviously not from wheat or anything. They're actually a SCOBY, but we call them crystals, grains, all these different names, right? So that's all you need, a 1/4 cup of that. And then I try to leave this is when the really fizzy stage comes in. And that's what you're looking for. So second ferment, you should get some fizz, you should get some bubbles. And the tighter the seal, the more fizz. And the sweeter the juice, the more fizz. And so I have about this much room here. I've had less, but then I've had it volcano out on me. So you got to watch that, right? So open it over the sink and try to, as they call, burp it. So after it sits for about, half a day, overnight in the morning, I'll open it up and it might go whoosh, and then lets out a bit of gas. That's burping your ferment, right? And excuse me. So after this stage, I've noticed different juices are going to take a different amount of time to fully ferment and get that nice fizz, sparkling beverage that you want to get for your Christmas holidays. And so grape juice and pineapple juice, 6 hours, and it's ready. You can taste it too. So the taste should also be less sweet, not really a juice anymore, but have a bit of that sour undertone going on. And a bit of a beer taste, Kefir beer. I find apple juice, 24 hours, depending on how active my grains are. My grains are really happy right now. So 24 hours and there's a super fizzy beverage, where before when I've left my grains a bit dormant in the fridge, it takes about 48 hours, up to 72 hours on the second ferment. Just be patient with it. Sometimes these little microbes are running on like a slower pace. The temperature can also control that. So it is winter time right now. And so it should be, a colder environment would slow down a fermentation process. But because my grains are so happy and active and I'm using them super regularly, it's faster. So there you go. So after that is sitting, this one was a 24-hour and it's pretty sparkly and pretty fizzy. Delicious. So enjoy. Apple juice kefir. Apples are great for helping the liver to release a lot of bile. I know some people that do liver flush programs, they consume a lot of apples, or they do apple juice or apple juice kefir to prepare their liver gallbladder ducts to release all the bile stones that they're trying to release. So as a part of my liver flush program. Otherwise, kefir is known to be one of the highest potency bacterial culture starters. And so that will give you such a high amount of bacteria. You could basically replace your probiotic capsule. I'd also recommend to do a vegetable ferment too, because it gives you a different diversity, depending on what vegetables you use, of course. But just because of the kefir starter versus the wild fermentation or lactic acid, lactobacillus-based vegetable ferment, there's going to be a difference in the diversity. So it's good to have all of it. Kombucha, totally different diversity. It has more of the acid sort of kind of like what apple cider vinegar would offer. So I hope you enjoyed this. Check out my website, like I said, theherbalmama.com. Remember, theherbalmama.com. And these recipes will be up, and this video, along with many others, will also be coming up onto my website. Thanks for tuning in.